Hello, Stampers! It's good to be back. It's been a long time. This is Kelly Rose here. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. My website is rosiescrapper.com, and you can find me at kellyrose.stampinup.net as well. So, let's get started. I hope that if you're joining me live that you will say hello and let me know where you're watching from. I'm gonna turn this around now so you can see what we're working on. I have some really fun techniques to share with you using the Queen Bee stamp set, which is an online exclusive right now. And let's see, I would like to put the link up in Facebook, but it doesn't look like the link has come up yet. So let's go ahead and get started. See, is everything running here? Looks like everything is good. All right, so what we've got going tonight are some watery techniques. So if you want to craft along with me, I'm using Tahitian Tide, Gorgeous Grape, Crushed Curry, and then also Crumb Cake. I have a note card here and some shimmery white paper to do the watercolor techniques on. So let me set those aside. And I have a Gorgeous Grape card base here. That's an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper cut in half at 5.5 and scored at 4.25. And so I have this fun technique to show you with it. Gold flakes, and then I also have a piece of distressed paper, which I believe is, let me grab my ruler because I think I've forgotten how long this is. 4 3/8 by 3 1/8. All right, so I also have some markers here, two different techniques. So I have the Granny Apple Green and Gorgeous Grape and Tahitian Tide. I also have a water aqua pen and a water spritzer. All right, so let me set some things aside and grab my trimmer because I do need to cut some shimmer white paper to the right size. All right, so I believe that was 4 1/4. Yes, 4 1/4. So just right down the middle, and then 3 is that size. And then I forgot to measure the other one. This is also shimmer white paper. So that is 4 1/4. Good. By 2.5-ish. So this is already 4 1/4, so I just need to cut that at 2.5. And then I will also use this piece to stamp one of the butterflies. Alrighty. So how's everybody doing tonight? It is wonderful to be back. And I think we will start with that note card. That's a little simpler. So I have here a craft sheet, and that looks like fresh ink, so I'm gonna wipe that up with a baby wipe. No, I guess it's not stained on there. Baby wipes are so wonderful to have around, and I think this is a stain also, so that's not gonna get on my paper. So I'm just putting a little bit of ink down on my craft sheet, and you can use the Stampin' Up! Silicone mats for this as well, but I like this big space, and since I have it, I'm gonna go ahead and use it. So now what I'll be doing is taking our spritzer, water spritzer, and getting that fairly wet. You can see the beading up there. And then I'm just going to take this piece of shimmer white paper and dip it like that. And you can do it as much or as little. You can leave as, white space if you want. And that looks good to me. So let's see, am I done with this? Trying to think about all the steps. Yes, I am. So go ahead and wipe that up. And I'm going to grab my, actually, I'll go ahead and let that dry for just a moment. Let me turn it over and spritz it on the back so it'll help keep it a little straighter. I will have to use my heat tool. And did you watch that sink down? I will have to use my heat tool eventually. All right, so for this next step, to make the bee, I'm going to use markers. And so I'm just going to color directly on the bee. And I'm not really paying a whole lot of attention to where I'm putting the color. I just kind of want to looking splotchy, and you want to use your lightest colors first and then come in with your darker colors. So let's see, a little bit down here, and then Gorgeous Grape will be last. And you want to make sure that all of the parts that were missed with the first round of coloring, those other two colors, that you get all of the little spots. Okay, let me come back in here with this. I see a little mist spot right there. Okay, so I am going to spritz this with water. So if I miss a few little places, it should be okay. Let me get this out of the way. That's what I'm going to stamp it on. And I want a very light misting. So I'm holding this really far away. And then just giving it a moment to soak in. There. Cool, huh? Very fun technique. Now, if you get more water on there, then you're going to see less detail, but it just kind of depends on the look that you're going for. So let me go ahead and clean this off. I will be using that bee stamp again in a moment for the next card. And that needs to be cut out with the die. Now, I don't think that the dies are for sale on the online exclusives, but the stamp set is. So I'm gonna cheat and use the die, but this bee would not be hard to cut out by hand. The next card example, I will not be. Cutting it out. Okay. So this is our mini cut and emboss machine, which you can still get the boho blue one. Actually, I need to take that tape off so I can see where I'm putting this. So yeah, if you want to get this in that beautiful boho blue, you can actually get it in the online exclusives. And if you just click menu when you're in the store, online exclusives is one of the choices. Oh, I guess it would help if that were open. I'm hoping that will help. There we go. So I was in a grungy watercoloring mood when I decided to do this card. Which is pretty common for me. It's one of my favorite things to do. Get all grungy and crafty. There. Sweet, huh? All right, so I have something else that I did that I want to share with you. I put some re-inkers in a spritzer. Sorry, this is not a Stampin' Up, but works the same. And so I do think that I want to spritz this like I did on the original card. Let's bring that back in. So see how it just looks a little grungy? I like this, but I think I liked the grungy as well. Yeah. So this is, let's see, I have a little recipe. So it was 3 drops of copper clay, 1 drop of early espresso, 2 drops of crushed curry, and I think I might have done a 1 drop of Granny apple green. So it's kind of a muddy looking color. Kind of like maybe a coffee stain, in between a coffee stain and an avocado, because the early espresso brings out a lot of purple. Oh, did I say early espresso? Yeah, I think I did. Okay, so let's clean that up. And this is fairly dry. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do the stamping on it. So I'm going to use the little, let's see, where's this stamp set? Let me show this to you. So I'm going to use this little words. This is why I bought the Queen Bee, but I've had a lot of fun playing with the bee. But I bought it for this so that I could have that little word, splotchy looking word thing. All right. So I'm using Tahitian Tide again, and I'll be inking up my stamp and then spritzing it. I think I will go ahead and put that over here, spritzing it lightly and then stamping. And I'll go ahead and do 2nd and 3rd generation. I'll ink up my stamp again, lightly spritz it, and we'll come back in with some more, and I think maybe 1 more time. So if you see anything new and you have a question about it, please let me know. And of course, if you like the cards or like the techniques that you're learning, a thumbs up is greatly appreciated. That really helps me out, so especially since I haven't been here in quite some time. Okay, so I'm going to dry that just a little bit, and then we'll be ready to put this card together. So this one goes really fast. I hope you like the techniques. If you didn't use Tahitian Tide, what color would you use to do this technique, this kind of background watercolory technique? All right. So this little guy will go up on dimensionals, and let me grab I'm going to grab a piece of paper just in case there's ink on here, because this is a white note card. So these come in pack of 10 with envelopes. And I'm just going to use my liquid glue here. So the fun thing about adding watercolor to our dye-based inks is that you start to see some of the other colors in the ink. And in this one you can see a little bit of the green coming out. It's really fun. Kind of never know what you're gonna get. All right, so what I have done underneath the bee is I have added some gold thread. I don't think that we sell this anymore, but this is simply gold thread. So you can get this anywhere where, better close that up, where you have a variety of threads sold. So I'm going to take 3 fingers and wrap this around 4 times, and then I'm going to wrap it around 4 fingers. Wow, my hands are really dirty. I apologize. I have been playing with inks all day. So I'm going to use a little bit of our tape, which I probably should have done before I started this. So that's about where the wings are going to be. So I'll just put a couple lines of tape down, and then just take this nest of gold thread and press it into the tape. And don't be in a rush. Make sure you look at what you're doing and the kind of shape that your nest that you're creating, because you do want it to, you don't want it to look completely uniform, but you also want it to kind of get everywhere where you want it to be, which you can easily just pick it up and manipulate it. All right, so grab some dimensionals. Oh, thank you, Laura. Thanks for joining me. Yes, I was thinking that myself. Azure Afternoon would probably look beautiful, and I must confess that I have not played with Azure Afternoon as much as I should have, because it is a beautiful color. That is one of our new colors that has joined our color families. That is in the brights, isn't it? Yeah, that is in the brights family. So Laura, do you have the Queen Bee? Okay, and there she is. And I am going to use some retired gems, but any gems that you love. I think gold would look great, kind of tie in the gold there. But these were right at the front of my little basket of gems. So I'm going to use them. I used to have a real issue with using things that were retired, but I'm kind of getting over it because I have so many things. And if I love it, I'm going to use it. So there. All right, so there is our first card done. Fun, huh? Let's go ahead and get started on the next one. So for this next one, I'm using this 4 1/4 by 3, and I am going to be stamping the bee with Stays On Saddle Brown, which I believe is still in the main catalog. And then I'm going to use that same kind of swiping technique. So Laura, you're a demonstrator, aren't you? Okay, I'm also going to use the crown. I'm going to put the crown on this Queen Bee. Love that. And I'm going to stamp Beloved underneath the bee. So I have lots of like things that were going on that were preventing me from doing videos, not the least of which was let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit, was my camera issue. And so I finally took, okay, good. Yeah, a lot of hobby demos out there. That's really kind of me, to be truthful, because I teach math. But I have more time in the summer, and I have had friends say, where are your videos? And so I felt like if people want my videos, then I should probably start doing the videos again, right? All right, so let's see. How did I do this? I know it was with crumb cake, and I think I just did this exact same technique with the words. And that requires the water. There. And next is to do that swiping technique. So I used a little bit of Tahitian Tide at the bottom. So I'll put a little bit of that down on my craft sheet. And then Gorgeous Grape and crushed curry. But another reason why I haven't done a lot of videos is I have gotten into junk journaling. And when I come in my room, I want to work on making ephemera and junk journals and just kind of playing in them, and I get such satisfaction out of doing that and using up old stash. It is so fun for me. Okay, so all of this is going to get spritzed, and I'm going to use a little bit of that crushed curd at the top, along with a little bit of the Gorgeous Grape, and along the bottom I want some of this Tahitian Tide, some crushed curry along the sides. See, I need a little bit more Gorgeous Grape. There we go. And maybe a little bit over there. You just never know how this is going to turn out. This one, I'm not seeing the, oh, let's put a little bit of Gorgeous Grape at the bottom there. There we go. Fun. I probably shouldn't clean that up. You know what I should do is I'm going to grab an envelope, one of those note cards envelopes, and wipe up some of that I'm kind of decorating the envelope with the ink that's there. And because I have so much still there, I'm going to go ahead and use these little strips and just kind of clean some of that up with these strips. These will probably make it into my junk journal, or I don't know, maybe a card. I'm feeling very Tim Holtzy here. That looks grungy. That is fun. Okay. Clean this up. And more ink on my fingers. 1993. That's a bit of a time there. All right. So, I am going to paint. Oh, I shouldn't have cleaned that up. Duh. I needed the ink to paint my Queen Bee. So I'm just going to have to create puddles by pressing really hard the ink into the lid. Can you hear that cow? We have a cow in the neighborhood, and it's not really like a cow kind of place. It's not really I would never imagine this to be a place for a cow. Kind of in the desert. Okay, so I'm going to start with the Gorgeous Grape. In a neighborhood, I can't imagine they have grass for it to eat. Maybe that's why it's yelling. It's been yelling since last night. I hope nothing's wrong with it. It can't be happy if it's just yelling nonstop, right? I don't really know much about cows, but I did live on a farm for a few years, about 10 years ago, and I don't like when the cows made noise, it's because like something was happening. Let me grab a paper towel to wipe off on. Actually, I'm going to grab my little jar of water. Keep a jar of water nearby. And I have one more purple one to do over here. I'm going to do purple ones down here. And let's go ahead and do the Tahitian Tide. Thank goodness this is a grungy card and I don't need to be super particular about my painting. It's kind of not my thing, being super particular. Alright, so I'm going to paint the rest of this with the crushed curry, and then I'll come back with some Tahitian Tide on those leaves and see if we can get a green color going. I'm probably going to cover up that heart in the middle with gem, so I won't bother painting that. And voila, green leaves created. I could have gotten out some green ink, but this is kind of fun. There we go. You don't want to do too much messing around with watercolor painting on this paper. It's not watercolor paper, but it does handle the paper really, or the water, fairly well. Okay. Now, let's see, I'm going to use the saddle brown for the card base. So here's my card base, and I'm going to stamp, let me give this a nice good crisp crease so it'll lay down flat for me. I'm going to use the words again. Hopefully it doesn't bother you. Cow. Okie doke. Get that stays on off right away. And I'm also going to add some ink right around the edges. Now, this next step that I'm going to do to add the gold flakes, it was just something I came up with. I don't know if it's a thing, if people have done it before. Actually, I might want that water. But it's messy. It's pretty messy. So, see, no, this is what I want. And I'm going to move those aside. And I'm going to use my silicone mat. I'm going to add a little blob of glue here. And I'm using our mono liquid adhesive. And I'm going to add some water to it, and I'm going to use an old paintbrush that I don't care if I do have this bucket of water, and it will come out, but I'm just going to add water to the glue, and then I'm going to splatter the glue onto the card. And if you're splattering with a paintbrush, I have found that if you turn your project around, you can get your splatters going in different directions. It's kind of hard to get them everywhere if you don't kind of move them around. All right, so let me get rid of this. Actually, I'm going to wipe that up. I let that other one dry, so that's going to be harder to get off. And I'll wipe up this glue. So I'm not in a rush because I am kind of letting that dry, but what I'm going to grab is, let's see, I kind of need a box. I meant to get a plastic box before I started the video and I forgot. So I'm just going to use this. These are the boxes I use to put my projects in. So I'm going to take a little bit of the gold flakes and put them down inside the box, about in a space the size of the card. Okay, oh, this is gonna work out better than, I was doing this on paper, but the gold flakes get everywhere. Okay, then I'm just gonna lay this down in there. Pick up the flakes, and then we're gonna brush them off, and then we're gonna put it, what doesn't stick, back in the jar. So now I just have these specks of gold leaf on my card. Isn't that cool? And if you try this technique, I would love to see what you create with it. I have a Facebook group. Rosie Scrapper Stampers is my Facebook group. Stampin' Up with Kelly is my Facebook page, which I think you find the group by going to the page. But I think they're both linked in the description below the video. All right, isn't that fun? What do you think? Okay, let me set this down carefully. Oops, I started to move too fast. Gold started to go everywhere. Go slow. All right, so this is gonna go here. This is a piece of our distressed gold. And then this is gonna go on it. I'm gonna glue those two pieces together and then add the focal point with dimensionals. Add some bling. And we will be done. I had another idea for a watery technique. But my eyes have been tired all day. Not sure why. Kind of had several moments of teary eyes in at church today. It was very moving. Our pastor is speaking on Revelation, and he was talking about the throne of God and how everything moves towards the one throne. And it was just so moving, and how important worship is to our Christian experience and to the future. Really, it's to everything. Because Jesus has conquered death and sin, and we can too, by believing and repenting. And so I was just so moved because I sing on the worship team, and so we listened to the sermon first service, and then I had to sing again. I was a little concerned that I was gonna be all like too emotional to sing, but I was able to. But I was way more emotional about worshiping the second time around after having listened to the sermon. Thanks, Laura. Well, I'm glad you haven't seen before, because I felt like I made it up, and you don't really know if you're making things up, because there are a bajillion crafters out there all using the same supplies, right? So let's find some bling. See, on the last one I used these adhesive back Milky Dots, which I believe are in the catalog. So I'm going to use one on top of that heart, although that heart is really cute and it looks good unpainted. Let's see, where else did I put? So I have a big one down here, and then a little one here. Uh-oh. I think I put a little one on the crown. And another little one right over here, like that. Oh, you know what I could do is I could use a little piece of this for the inside. So let's go ahead and grab a insert. That's the right size. Good, good, good. And I think I'll just cut this down. I have my little trimmer right here. So just line that up with the bar right there, so I have no idea what size that is. And a little bit of glue. Oh, that side's cool too. trim that off. Let's see what is in here that we might like to stamp. How about that flower? Ooh, you know what? This would look good stamped right on top of that, wouldn't it? I think we'll do that. Okay, hopefully that's straight. Let me grab some grid paper. Oh no. Okay. So what I'm looking at is this little point right there, kind of lining up with that line. And then this point over here lining up with that same line. This doesn't quite fit, does it? Oh well. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep this here, and so that I can test my stamping. Sorry for the mess. I'm a messy stamper. Pretty straight. Let's try it. I like it. Yay. That looks cool. All right. And that's good enough, right? Just a little bit of decoration. And let's get that put inside here. There. Anyone would love to get that card, wouldn't they? All right. So I need to wipe that off and bring in the other cards. And you guys can tell me which was your favorite. Actually, that is kind of dry, so I need a little cleaner. Oh, sorry for the loud bang. There. So Queen Bee, available in the online exclusives. So this is the one I did before, and then this is the one I did on camera. And then here are the two note cards. Can zoom out and you can see all of them. See, this was the one I did prior, and then this was the one I did on camera. I like them. I love the way the colors all just kind of blend together. I like that purple. I think this bee looks great on that blue background. Okay, so again, thank you so much for thumbs up. They are very helpful. And if you would like to support me in any other way, you can check the links below the video. And until next time, I hope that it will be soon. If you have any questions, let me know if I can help you in any way. I am here to do that. All right, bye. Thank you.